I'm resident of Collinwood for YouTube Joel Sands. That's my buddy Gordon Dymowski. That's my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to review episode 1 of Archive 81. We'll be reviewing episodes of the one season show that is still on Netflix, and it better stay there while we're reviewing it, or I will murder somebody immediately.
Or if you're willing to, if you have a certain moral flexibility and have the technical know-how, you could download the videos and make them freely available.
Or
and you know how to do it.
Or,
it's an option. You're not endorsing it. You're just
yes, I'm just saying it's an option. Like someone took some Doctor Who stuff specifically from England and put it on the Internet Archive.
Yeah, nice.
So, but I would never condone piracy.
No.
Or you could,
I would never condone it or encourage it.
Or, you could put season 1 on DVD, just for the hell of it. Why not? There are season 1 shows on DVD. The Prisoner.
DVD and Blu-ray.
So, why not Archive 81? It's a good show. So, we follow a character named Dan who repairs footage, which is really, really cool. Or he fixes it, he picks it, he buys it off of a street vendor or wherever he can get it, really, which I enjoyed. When you guys watch, because I know, Gordon, you just watched this today, right?
Right.
Okay. So with watching this, going off of one episode only, what's something that you either A, liked or B, didn't like about the character?
About Dan?
Yeah. Liked or didn't like?
Well, I was actually surprised because I thought this was going to involve a pair of FBI agents who are seeking out like historical relics, and Saul Rubinek would be like their boss. But I was getting Arcade 81 confused with Warehouse 13. But I think Dan is an intriguing character because I think he's kind of our audience identification character because he's had some trauma in his life. His family died in a fire, and he's basically, and it's almost a traditional noir setup. He's set up to work on this videotape, but he's got to go out to the Catskills, and there's no internet, and so there's an element of like rich guy asking him to do something that's a little bit on the down low. Played by Martin Donovan, who's the best Roger Collins ever, the second best behind Louis Edmonds.
Oh wait, that's Roger Collins from
the 2004 pilot.
Wow, boy, he's like many of us. He's put on a few pounds, but he wears it well. He really has this mafia, a totally different voice too. He has this weird kind of Texas drawl that I don't remember from Dark Shadows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. He's rocking a bit of a Southern accent in this movie, this show. Whereas in the series, he wasn't rocking that at all.
Which is going to be interesting as the show goes on.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because they set up like two parallel storylines, or at least two because you've got Dan looking at the tape of the stuff from this old apartment building fire. And then you have this female grad student, who is living in the apartment and doing an oral history. And so she's doing these videotapes. And there's this great thing of, it's like, normally I don't like mystery box.
What's a mystery box?
It's where everything leads to a revelation. So it's J.J. Abrams type storytelling.
I hate that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's really brilliant is that what the showrunner does is yes, there's a mystery, but she's giving us the clues in real time at the time. So it's not all piecing it together from videotape. We're seeing the greater context. And I love how at the end, the two stories kind of dovetail.
That will continue to be a theme throughout this. That's That's a very, very, very strong element that blossoms as this goes on. And some of the stuff that it does in the best way, it doesn't really explain. And I like that about it, that there are, even at the end of the season, which, by the way, Gordon, I'm gonna tell you, when I saw this, I had no idea they were planning a second season or they were thinking about it. So the ending for me is very Rod Serling, and that's how I took it. So that's all I'll say about it. But if you look at it in that sense, it's not unsatisfying.
Yeah. Well, it's also hard too, because Netflix has a history of like just canceling series. They'll commission a series for a season, and then the showrunners, I don't know if there's a promise made or whatever, but the showrunners will go, okay, we'll leave it on a cliffhanger, and then Netflix says, nope, sorry, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah. I didn't know it was a cliffhanger when I saw the ending of it. I just thought it was the ending.
I was listening to an interview with Brad Wright, who wrote Stargate, the Stargate series, and he was explaining how Netflix works from a series standpoint. Like, you give them 6 episodes, and if they like when they watch those 6 episodes, if they like those 6 episodes, they'll say, okay, write more and give them to us. And then if we like that, then we'll pick up your season and then we'll run it and we'll see what happens. And so it's like, wait, what?
Is it still like that, or was it like that when he was doing Stargate Walmart or whatever it was?
Well, to be clear, it was because he wasn't doing Stargate at the time he was doing Netflix. He was like, Stargate had well ended when he was writing stuff for Netflix. This was specifically, he was talking about how Netflix was working when he was writing there. Now, I don't know if it still works that way.
I think it would be tough to do that.
Like, you know what I mean? To be clear.
Yeah.
But with this, because I'm not going to spoil the ending of the last episode because we're on the first one. But what I loved here was we get very interesting teases, like the picture of his family's dog with the girl in the videotape. That was like, wait, did she know his family somehow? It's like, and they ask a question, and then they don't completely answer it at first, but she did know his dad. And he keeps hearing the melody from the hotel room because he played it on the piano. And it's like, this is really intense and really good because they're asking questions, they're answering some, but not revealing all.
Yeah, this is a show where if you look at something like Lost, it's this mystery is imposed on these people, and it's also pretty clear they have no idea what they're doing. They're just coming up with wacky stunts, and that's it. In this, you have characters, both of whom are trying to uncover mysteries. He's trying to uncover what's really on these videotapes and what's going on. She's trying to uncover mysteries of the viscera. So both of them are already involved in investigating things. And I think that conceit removes it from the unnecessary mystery box. It's one thing to have a mystery. It's another thing for mystery box. In this case, it's a legitimate mystery that they are solving together.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, what it does is it does what a good streaming series should do and a good mystery should do, is bring the clues together. And you start to think, but you don't go, oh, that's it. It's like very early on, like within, I think, the first 5 minutes or so, Dan is looking at an old videotape of a horror series from the 50s, and someone asks him, yeah, it's this pre-Twilight Zone thing, but there's a very distinct round symbol.
A circle.
And then, yeah, it's a circle. And then and I'm forgetting the woman's name, goes to the Vassar, she sees the same circle.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're drawing conclusions, and it's, but I will say this, the fact is, why Netflix turned down to season 2 of this just based on this pilot. It said, "Oh, hey, yeah, we'll give Zack Snyder money for his cosplay Star Wars Dollar Tree ripoff movie," is just beyond me.
Did they do that? Yeah. What was that thing? Isn't it already gone from theaters?
It wasn't even in theaters.
It wasn't
Zack
even.
Snyder's making it specifically for Netflix now.
Is it? Did it already happen? Is it out?
Yeah, there's like a part 1 and a part 2.
Okay.
And they're like impossibly long. So I it's called Rebel Moon. So if you can like exclude the words Rebel Moon from your search, don't go there. This isn't the, oh, hey, I'll just nudge Patrick along by saying don't see it. I haven't seen it.
No,
I have no intention to see it. Don't. And kids, stay away from Zack Snyder.
I've got
Snyder,
important.
You get your if you even try to do something that's a ripoff of Dark Shadows, I will find you and I will pound a dog food, bro.
Well, you need a hug, man.
Exactly.
I will deliver, and I know I will I'll annoy one of you for saying this. I will deliver a Ric Flair style beat down on you if you do that, Snyder.
Damn.
But let's talk about Archive 81 because it's a much better Netflix show.
Yeah. I recall Central Park in fall, how Jewel tore his dress, such a mess. I confess that's not all Donkey Shane. I recall when this came out, it was sort of the thing to watch. I think maybe Christmas of 2020 or 2021, and it, as I recall, the ratings were good. It was a critic's darling. If anything was going to get a second season, it was going to be this. The first episode is the longest feeling episode. It's one of those things. It's like any of these, it's such an info dump that you're getting all of this background information, and the other episodes almost feel like they are temporal illusions because they go by so quickly. It also does a better job at the fine art of the cliffhanger. As it goes on, I think really starting with episode 2, there is some sort of, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me, twist that's not there to be a twist.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate part of the unfolding story. They just time it right to compel you to have to watch the next episode. I watched first episode, it was fine. Went back a couple of days later, watched the second episode. And I think starting with that second episode, I watched the rest of it all the way through. And I haven't done that since I think season 1 of Dexter. So it really grabbed me. And it's based on a podcast, a fairly famous podcast. I don't know how many of the same people are involved. But the sort of the podcastian theme of his friend is something that's consistent. And if you like this, the subsequent seasons of the podcast will tell you what happens to Dan and what happens to the other characters. So, you can get for free, some satisfaction out of that. It deals with it. Ian Fleming, who's writing the Bond books, did a really good job before the days of television of taking us places we would never go and showing us things we would never see. And sort of this interesting world of old money, rent control, bohemian New York. Kind of building you would imagine, Gordon Russell lived in or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is still one of those mysteries, especially for someone who doesn't live in New York. And so I love the way that it's constantly letting me in on this culture. And it's a shame, we probably should have done the first 2 or 3 episodes in one blog. That was my fault. Sorry. Because this is really just kind of setting stuff up. But oh my God, it's off to the races.
I think what episode 1 does really well too. Yeah, it is. Most first episodes are the longest or feel the longest. But when I went back and watched this again today, I took a picture of it. I'm thinking, man, this is moving pretty quick. Like, even though it's like most beginning episodes do feel long, it's moving at a pretty intense pace, but it's not moving so fast that you can't keep up with it. Because the character Dan, he's constantly moving. He's constantly on the move, unless he's laying down or sleeping. He's moving, trying to put together a tape. And even when he is, there's always something productive going on too. Like someone's always doing something, whether it's Dan putting together a tape, his friend doing his podcast, and even watching the girl who moves into that apartment building, the visitor. There's something going on with that character. The little girl having the seizure. It's like, holy shit, this is going, but it's got you. It like literally has a hold of you, because they are telling you, they're asking these questions. You have no idea exactly what the hell's going on. By the way, yeah, the girl's not only was around his dog, but somehow knew his father, because his father appears at the end of this, and it's like, holy shit.
The holiest.
Yeah.
One other aspect that they start laying down in this, and this is a very, I'm not going to dignify by calling it a spoiler. One of the things I really like, and it's something that you can just look at and enjoy in an uncomplicated way, thanks to me, is Dan's relationship with the guy who does the podcast. I forget the name of that character, but it is really one of the best supportive, emotionally intimate male friendships that I have seen in the media in a long time. It's not based in any kind of macho silliness or anything like that. It's a really, 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 this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship kind of thing, except this is in the middle of a beautiful friendship. And that is a very pure aspect. And one of the things that this show does really well is that those 3 essentially main characters, Dan, the woman who's doing the documentary, and the podcast guy, are very pure characters. They are good people, and they are trying to do the right thing without ever being tiresome or didactic or anything like that. And that's a really refreshing moral landscape to see in a TV show that shouldn't force you to invoke phrases like moral landscape, because they're not goody two shoes. They're just good people, and that's really refreshing.
The character's name is Matt Higgins. The actor who plays him the character's name is Mark Higgins. The actor's name who plays him is Matt McCray.
Was he involved with the podcast?
I don't know. I know he was on the show.
You got Wikipedia there in front of you.
Hold on.
Viva Jewel Vegas. Viva Jewel Vegas. I think he is. I think he's one of the elements, or he sounds like he should be on a podcast, perhaps because he's playing someone who does podcasts. I don't know. When I went and listened to that first season, it sounded very similar. Anyway, that was a rabbit hole. I didn't mean to throw us down that.
No, go ahead and talk while I'm reading here.
Oh, Jewel, now I feel bad.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. I'll suffer in silence. One thing I would like to suggest maybe for tomorrow or whenever we're going to do another one of these, I hope it's tomorrow, is that we do episodes 2 and 3 so that we get we're able to have a little bit of a chunkier section of the show to talk about. Maybe doing these 2 at a time gives us a little bit more. We can talk about the function of the cliffhanger, and there's less. Oh, I can't talk about that sort of stuff.
Right. Yeah, because I think this pilot is very precise in what it does, and a lot of pilots aren't. A lot of them are kind of like, we need to establish very clearly who's the good guy, who's the complicated. We need to really whip it up, get going. And this is, I love the fact that it's so economical. It's very visual, which I really love, and I think it's, and even the found footage aspect, which I'm not a big fan of found footage films because I think they tend to be. I think they, and I'll be honest, I hated the Blair Witch Project.
It was a dreadful film. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the, to me, that is the late 90s, early 2000s equivalent of the, let's take a beloved public domain character that another company owns and turn them into slashers. That's like, it lacks imagination, it lacks thought.
And that's what they're doing with like Winnie the Pooh and stuff now, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
in fact, on January 4th of this year, I saw a trailer for a horror film featuring Mickey Mouse from Steamboat Willie called Mickey's Mousetrap. I kid you not.
I mean, I'm not offended by it. It's just so culturally unnecessary.
I mean, if you're going to do a horror film, do it on something that's like maybe a little bit more obscure, like do Jay Gatsby as a vampire.
Yeah.
To answer.
Oh my God. Oh.
Oh, okay, I got to write that down.
Seth Grahame-Smith, I think, is writing the next Star Trek movie.
Yeah. Patrick, to answer your question about the actor being involved in the actual podcast, no, he's not.
No. Were there any crossovers, or it was all?
No, the actors who voice for the podcast that this series is based on are not in the. As far as I could tell, none of the actors from this series are involved with the actual podcast.
Okay, well, sometimes when we touch the honesty's too much.
Yeah, here's another great public domain idea, which actually does exist. A crime story involving Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd fighting blackmailers. Actually does exist.
Well, that I'm more than happy to watch that sort of thing.
Well, it's actually a short story because I wrote it.
Well, that's okay. Well, I'm glad I said something good about it.
I'm sort of working on 2 crime stories. So
really?
Yeah. In His Holy Name and The Desert Rose Killer. Yeah.
Okay. Does Fatty Arbuckle appear at any point?
No.
Well, he doesn't appear, but Buster does talk about his friend Roscoe a lot.
Okay, well, that's
and they both make vicious fun of Charlie Chaplin. They hate his guts, which is well deserved.
Weird commie, marrying ever increasingly young girls, strange guy. I don't know. And he's not funny. Chaplin's not that funny. He thinks he's so precious and so clever, and he's just a freeloader, like he was in this country. Now, Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd, those are hardworking Joes.
Hey, I even had Buster Keaton punch a guy.
I'm sure he did many times. He got a few drinks in him.
And Joel, I threw the link in the chat. So if you want to include that with the show notes, everyone go up, buy that book. There's even a story by an author named Wayne Carey.
Yeah.
Bob Hope as a detective. There's even one, and I forget the author, but Myrna Loy and William Powell team up to solve a crime.
Really?
There'll be several links in the description when we get down here. I do have what did you guys think of them giving this character Dan because he has mental issues. He had a mental breakdown once. What did you guys think of that?
It's a source of tremendous suspense.
Yeah.
It adds a good element of mystery to his past. What went on and what vulnerability exists that may come up in the future. It's this wonderful kind of sword of Damocles. And it's handled with a lot of dignity.
Yeah, because usually the trope is if someone's had some kind of depressive or mental health issue, they're more likely to either snap or hurt themselves, or it's like, oh, there must be something wrong with them. They might be behind everything. And I think that especially now, since there's a much greater emphasis on mental health and physical wellness and basically overall positive living, that it's refreshing to see it treated like when Martin Donovan's character says, well, oh yeah, here's the magic wristwatch where you can press the button to get help, and you can also get mental health as well. We really did our homework on you.
Yeah. And there's nothing on Wikipedia about him, having, certain things about it, like about his parents, about how his parents died and stuff. That information wasn't out there, and yet these people knew stuff. It's like holy shit. But yeah, for those who have not seen like the first episode of this, let alone go watch this. This is really, really great stuff. It's a great show. Yeah, we'll definitely do episode 2 and 3 tomorrow night.
Is that Gordon? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm down with that.
You're gonna enjoy that. Yeah. This is going to be an unfolding treat to watch with you. I'm looking forward to
it. Does your friend want to add anything, Patrick?
Angie, what are your thoughts on Archive 81?
I absolutely loved it. Like I said, I was very disappointed. When we didn't get a season 2. I think COVID killed Archive 81, because it was during the COVID epidemic and then the post-pandemic era. Hate COVID, down with COVID. I'm an RN VSN, so I can say that.
Yeah. And it's refreshing to hear because I'm tired of these COVID fans. Talking about the positives of COVID and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I had COVID last year, and it was no, it's not fun. You feel like crap. You sleep all the time, and you really and I know the CDC said you can go out when the fever breaks. Stay home for 2 weeks. Eat, get things delivered. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I never actually
follow
COVID, but
damn
I took
science.
Care of a lot of people. I took care of a lot of people who had COVID and who died with COVID, so I hate COVID. Fortunately, myself never had it, but
now I will say this: I had COVID, and you know what? It wasn't that bad. And you know why I think it wasn't that bad? Because I'd been vaccinated.
Well, I had too, but here's the thing: I would rather have the vaccinated feel badly for 2 weeks style COVID than I would be.
I'm trying to do a pitch for people to get vaxxed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what? It was uncomfortable, but better that than be in the hospital.
Oh yeah, just imagine.
Stick on the arm
and just for the and COVID isn't just the vaccine you should get. In Chicago, we've had 3 people contract measles.
Damn.
Don't forget about shingles. Shingles vaccine.
Hey, I got my shingle shot.
You don't want to get shingles. bad.
Yeah, I don't want to. That's why I got my Vax.
What about Pringles butter and herb? Do you remember
I
those?
prefer the pizza flavor.
Those are good. But then Larry Bud Melman was the spokesman for Pringles butter and herb.
No, I like the sour cream and onion.
Ironically, Pringles Butter and Herb was my favorite R&B band in the 70s.
Joel, where do you stand on Pringles flavors?
I stand specifically with 3: original, pizza, and lightly salted.
Okay, Jewel.
For cheddar? Nobody for cheddar?
I don't know. Not enough. Jewel, I got 2 words. Go. Corn nuts. Jewel saying on corn nuts.
Yeah, corn nuts. Corn nuts.
Corn
How about
nuts.
bugles? Bugles are
Corn
bad.
nuts.
It's actually what we called certain sexually transmitted diseases in my neighborhood back.
Oh,
Bugles are much better. You can have them on your fingers and pretend they're nails.
apparently you can have. Speaking of which, Angie says you can have them on your fingers.
The bugles.
I think she's talking about bugles, not a social disease.
I've had bugles. Bugles.
Well, yeah, but you had a shot and it was cleared up.
Cheddar. I like the cheesy bugles.
Oh, that's it. Angie, you have a special. There's a vaccine to deal with a guy with cheesy bugles.
Cheesy Bugles was also another nickname we gave certain diseases back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. Jewel and the cheesy bugles. Jewel, do you ever take bugles and like put them on your head and make horns? Because you'll get kicked out of Dark Shadows groups for that.
Which way is that? What got you kicked out, or what?
No, Jewel. I know none of this. You would be, more of a court historian on those things, and you cleared your name.
Joel, the real reason why Patrick gets kicked out of Dark Shadows groups is because people are jealous of his talent.
That's true.
People feel badly about him because he is a genius. He took the lead. He did something that nobody else did, and they're jealous of him. There, yeah. I said it. Whump, there it is, as they would say in the 90s.
Yeah. It's not easy being as smart as Patrick McCray. It's really not.
Why do I feel like there's just this air of facetiousness?
Although I know it's not.
My low self-esteem circuit kicks in, and I immediately think, "Hey, wait a minute! They're making fun of me." No, they're not. Yeah,
no.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take it at face value.
Yeah. Well, let me just say that I get it. And imposter syndrome is a bad drug.
You want to hear something before we go? I'll say this about groups. And somebody asked me about groups once. I said, "Listen, I'm in a lot of Halloween groups. Let me tell you the worst group I was ever in. It was the Chucky group, the Child's Play group. It's literally called Chucky, called Chucky. And let me tell you something. The language you hear in that group will make any movie with the most profanity feel like Mary fucking Poppins." Okay.
What is it about Chucky that brings this out, Jewel?
I have no clue, honestly.
And the thing is, Chucky is maybe the worst horror icon ever. Because all you really need is a can of like hairspray and a lighter, and he's down for the count. The dude is made of plastic.
I like Chucky.
She liked Chucky.
I like Chucky. I like dolls that come to life and kill you. You know why? Because that's what horror is all about. What is a child's worst nightmare? Because people have had, some people have had tremendously traumatic childhoods like me, and horror gives me a way to be scared of that instead of what I'm really afraid of, which is my past.
Well, here's some. I'll tell you this.
Okay, I stand corrected.
I'll tell you one thing that I read in there that was like, so somebody had come into the group and asked, they said, "Look, I like the first Child's Play, but I don't see Chucky as a big deal." And this is what they put to this dude. They said, "Well, maybe if you get the dick out your mouth for like more than 10 seconds. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like,
People
he's
are
just
passionate. They're passionate about their food.
about things in their mouth.
I'm like, why?
Welcome to Resident of Collinwood After Dark.
It's like, why would you even say that to that person?
Does that I'm going to take does that technically impede your ability to watch a Chucky? I guess it does.
I'm telling you, these
Well,
children
look,
that love Chucky, they had scary looking dolls.
Look, I've watched all the Child's Plays. Okay, I've watched the Chucky series. I'm a fan of the franchise, but after I saw that, I left that group. I'm thinking those people are crazy. Like, look, I'm all for being.
You don't want them making Jewel. You don't want them making fun of something like that. That's a beautiful thing between two consenting adults, and you got to take a stand for this.
I'm just like, well, look, I'm all for defending, a franchise and stuff, but to insult somebody over, that statement, it's like, yeah, these people are crazy.
Ring groups on Facebook.
People are crazy.
Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars. They're rough places to be for a true fan.
So now, who levied this accusation at you?
Not at me.
Oh, now you've changed the story. All right.
No, the Chucky group. I was sitting there. I typed something about Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2, not Child's Play 1. I said, I really like how they did Child's Play 2. And I did. And then somebody said, I've only seen the first one because I don't see the big deal. They said they didn't see the big deal of, people being obsessed with, a doll because a doll you could easily kill, which, okay, I get, that's true. If you're going from a fictitious sense, but then they insulted this person, like, Jesus Christ, that's their opinion. Look, everybody has an opinion.
They do.
People are crazy in groups. People are crazy.
Yeah. I don't really do groups. To a large extent, I'm just kind of I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel.
Yeah, there are things about Patrick you wouldn't understand. Things about Patrick you couldn't understand. Things about Patrick you shouldn't understand.
I just think groups are contentious for the most part.
Well, part of it too is Facebook. Their whole algorithm will boost negativity, and it gives it a little bit more of a jump than it will positivity. So if I were to say, for example, Chucky, the Chucky series is the greatest horror series ever made. I don't think it's bad. People would probably ignore it. But if I say Chucky sucks rubber donkey lungs and should be set on fire, people would react to that.
I've never seen rubber donkey lungs.
People are more passionate about what they don't like than
Right.
what they do like. It's all negativity. What do you think of TikTok?
I've never been on TikTok.
I've seen some of the. It's funny because there are some creators who put their TikTok videos onto Facebook, and I've been following there's this whole genre of dudes who go in grocery stores and will tell you don't buy this, it's trash. It'll say hey, don't buy seed oils, they're bad for your health. I mean, there's one guy who's walking through a supermarket in nothing but his swim trunks, and he's super buff, and he looks like he's I think steroids might be involved. I can't say, but he's kale is bullshit and cabbage is bullshit, and he's all about meat, and it's
take a stand.
Yeah. Of all the evils in the world, mocking vegetables is probably dude, get a life.
Broccoli, boo broccoli.
This is going to become a yeah.
Is there anything you want to add about Archive 81 and only Archive 81?
What about VeggieTales?
I thought it was brilliant. I'm looking forward to watching the other episodes.
I loved it.
You're really going to like it. The thing about Archive 81, that I noticed with the first episode, and as a note that it sustains, is that it's one of the few TV horror franchises, and we hate that term, but you know what I mean, that is not so tawdry that you kind of feel like, is this really necessary? And sure, I don't know what. Oh, it's a Michael Myers snow globe.
It's a Michael Myers snow globe.
Yes. So as I was saying, it's not so tawdry that you feel kind of sort of dirty having watched it. But at the same time, it delivers. It delivers the scares, and it has a very late 70s, early 80s PBS like mystery in the Gene Shalit era, even before Vincent Price. Gene Shalit.
It was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
Gene Shalit.
We got more episodes to cover. Episode 2 and 3 tomorrow night with these fine gentlemen, Gordon and Patrick. There's going to be some links in the description box. Links to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day book Unbound is going to be in the description box. Link to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. And the other link that Gordon has sent us is going to be in the description box as well.
Don't forget Nurse Ann Sue on TikTok.
Oh, she reviews movies on TikTok. Nurse Ann Sue.
Go follow Nurse Ann Sue on TikTok.
Because you'll get honest movie reviews and nothing directed by Zack Snyder.
I don't even know who that is. No, I'm kidding.
She says she didn't know what Zack Snyder is. Victory. That's a cultural victory.
Yeah,
it really
don't learn. Don't learn.
Yeah, don't learn. You're better off.
I'm more of a naive, innocent moviegoer, casual moviegoer.
Hmm?
It's not my life, but
want to hear something that'll really piss you off? Before we all leave here, I was reading this article that was from some site that basically said the reason the 2012 Dark Shadows movie failed wasn't because of Tim Burton, but was because it was Dark Shadows. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Now that person deserves a Ric Flair style beatdown.
Yeah, they were.
Joel, I think you and I should team up and take that guy.
Yeah.
Who said this?
What?
Who said this?
There was this interview. There was this article I was reading from this website. It was on.
Oh.
It was. I was reading this, and because Tim Burton's returning to Warner Brothers to do Beetlejuice 2, obviously, and they said, well, yeah, the second Beetlejuice movie. And it's like, well,
he was risen.
The last movie, and it was said about the last movie he did, which was the 2012 Dark Shadows movie. And they were saying, well, the reason that movie was bad wasn't because of Tim Burton, but it was because it was Dark Shadows. And I said, yeah, you're on some drugs, dude.
But it differed so significantly from the source material.
Yeah, right.
How is that a fair criticism? It's not.
I have no idea.
Casual people loved it, though.
I think you enjoyed the Dark Shadows movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you like it as a comedy?
I think that any movie will find its audience. There's an audience out there for everyone. That's especially true today when you have so many things to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, is there anything you want to add before we go?
Nope.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. Tomorrow, episode 2 and 3 of Archive 81.
I'm going to watch them right now.
I will see.
Right.
I got some other stuff to do. I'll watch mine tomorrow. I'll see you guys.
I'll watch mine as well. Good night, all.
Tomorrow.
Bye.